What up?
How we doing?
You guys use any KOLs to pump QR coin or what? You guys paying $60K?
No, we don't. We're not employing any KOLs. We're trying to be, the next KOL here.
Yeah. We're going to be the KOL.
Get us on that list. Nice. So Jake, you're the founder of QR Coin, which is an on-chain attention machine with a daily auction to own a QR code referral link, essentially. So can you just tell us more about, I guess, QR Coin and how the mechanism works?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple for people who are familiar with like Nouns, daily auctions. We have a similar auction happening every day. Originally, it was actually forked from the Nouns auction, but we've made some changes since then. And instead of winning, the next Nouns NFT, you win attention for a day, essentially. And so we see a lot of crypto founders, in particular, bidding on our auction to get the attention of our crypto native audience, which we've been able to compound over the last 180 days or so of doing these auctions. So originally it was like scraping and clawing for any bit of attention we could drive to our winners. And now we've got sort of a more systematic approach to driving attention every day. We've got over 45,000 users on Farcaster, who we send a daily notification. And we basically say, check out our daily winner, claim a little bit of QR, our associated currency as a reward. And so people are just going and sort of discovering something new every day, claiming a little QR, stacking a little QR, and moving on with their day. So it's like a quick little action for our thousands of users. But for the bidders, it's a great way to get a lot of crypto native attention for a day around a launch or new feature or whatever it might be.
Got it. I think that was my big question: is where does the like attention supply side come from? Like, why are people hanging out on crypto Twitter, caring about who wins your auction every day? But it sounds like it's kind of incentivized.
Yeah, it's a lot of Farcaster for now. Obviously, we'd like to expand that. Farcaster's still relatively small, but on a given day, it's like right now, I think the bid's a couple $100. We've had it go as high as a few $1,000, but anywhere in that sort of like high hundreds range, it's like, if you're launching a product, you've invested thousands or tens of thousands of dollars in getting this thing on the road, and then you launch and it's just crickets. It's like pretty disappointing. If you could pay $500,000-$700,000 to make sure that it gets seen on launch day, it's a good deal for a lot of people. So our average winning bids have been like, I don't know the exact number, but somewhere around $500-$600 for 180 auctions, which is pretty good. Like, I mean, in the beginning, to your point, it's like, well, okay, cool, you're the on-chain attention machine, but like, who's actually looking at this thing? And we didn't have that much attention, and so people, on a given day, people win the auction for like $45, and I'm like, what am I doing here? But fast forward a few months, and we've got like a pretty good system. Obviously, I still want to drive like 10x and then another 10x more attention every day, but it's enough that it can be the difference between launching something into the void and launching into a pretty good reception.
Can you break down like the business model and token model here? Just make it very clear for us how you're thinking about that.
Yeah, sure. So business model you could think of primarily as we're getting one revenue generating event every day through the winning bid, which goes directly to our treasury. So like I said, it's like $500-$600 a day. We are separately generating revenue through just trading on the token, like a lot of tokens do. We launched via Clanker, so there's like a 1% fee, and we get a percentage of that. But primarily it's that auction revenue, and we just crossed like 100,000 over the first 180 auctions. So that sort of math comes from the 500-600 daily bid. And then our cost, which sort of like directly goes against that, is going to be those rewards that we're giving out every day paid in QR. So we're collecting the bid actually in USDC, paying out the rewards in QR. And because we're doing that, there's sort of like we need to be buying back more QR in order to provide those rewards. And so there's sort of a natural buyback mechanism there. We haven't committed to like, we're going to take 10% or 20% or whatever it is of every winning bid and do it, programmatically, the buyback after the end of each auction, just because, I don't know, I'm very hesitant. Like, I know that's like sort of very common, like traders want to see that and stuff. But first of all, I don't mind if the product gets well ahead of the market cap. Like, I'd rather that than the reverse. So I don't really want to please traders as much as I want to actually like have the product work. And second of all, like if we do that, it's like, first of all, what's the right percentage? Like, what's the right way to do that? You have all these things and you don't really know the answer. Like, we're a 6-month-old project and people have been pressuring us to do this since, month one. And like, you can, it's like, imagine if you asked Jeff Bezos when they were just a bookstore, what are you going to do with your revenue? Like what are you going to allocate your revenue towards in perpetuity? It's like a ridiculous question, but it's sort of the norm in crypto. So I respect people who like want an answer out of that. That's fine. But it's like, if you're not comfortable investing in a token without a hard answer there, there's plenty of tokens out there. You can, come back later if you want. Maybe we'll have an answer. But historically, like, I actually do want to get the historical percentage because that doesn't commit us to anything. That's just like facts. I don't want to say a number like sort of publicly, but I'm sure it's greater than any number we would have like sort of committed to in perpetuity. We've used like a lot of our revenues to buy back QR. And typically the way we've done that is like, we don't do 10 or 20% every auction. We'll just like clip the full thing in once in a while. And so, yeah, that's sort of like the natural mechanism there. And then obviously we're distributing this QR out to the people checking out the winning bids every day. And sort of the thesis on that is like, if you spread a very small amount of a token to a very large number of people every day, the default is going to be that they just like hold it. Of course, some people are going to flip it and sell it right away. But they're capped at flipping like that very small amount. This is how like the Coinbase earn model worked. If you're like familiar, that's sort of where I originally learned this from. And then you're going to have like a very, very small number of people who are actually like, oh, this is actually kind of interesting. I'm tired of earning just like a tiny bit every day. I just want to buy some. And they're not capped. So like, while the people who are going to sell instantly, there might be a lot more of them. They might sell 10 cents or whatever. Someone one day might decide to buy $1,000 and that cancels out all the sellers. So it's like I think it's a pretty good model for actually like distributing the coin to actual users to drive like sort of the core action that we want every day. And so, so far it's been working out reasonably well. We did try at some point tying the token in a little more directly. We had bidding in QR instead of USDC, but it introduced, quite a bit more friction into like the universe of people that would want to bid and be able to bid, and just makes it like, several clicks instead of one or two. And it didn't have any meaningful impact on our market cap. At that time, we were probably around like 300,000 or 400,000, and it like kind of didn't move during that time. And then we switched to USDC, and it's been, up and to the right since.
Can you share a bit of the like what the marketing math looks like? Like if people winning an auction, what are rough kind of impressions, click throughs they get, and are these any signs that these users are kind of good, retained users for these projects, or is it really kind of just top of funnel?
Yeah, I mean, the latter thing that you mentioned is the hardest part, is like sort of determining the quality. Fortunately, there are a couple of sort of Farcaster native quality checks that have been built like well before us. So one is Farcaster itself labels users likely to be spammy or not. So that's like a sort of a good, very high level check, but it's only, it's a 0 or 1. Beyond that, like sort of a little bit more in the weeds, there's a company called Nanar that, will give users a score anywhere between like 0 and 1. So 1 is like a perfect score. 0.99 is like a very, very high quality user. Everything above 0.9 is like pretty darn high quality, and it goes on from there. And so we do have like sort of breakdowns like that. We're driving on the order of a few thousand, like between like 3,000 and 5,000 non-spammy users from Farcaster every day. That number was actually higher, but we've since started rewarding some of the lower quality Nanar score. I know this gets like very deep in the weeds, but like we've been, trying to increase the quality regardless of quantity a little bit, because the quantity, like, I mean, we could just drive like silly numbers if we want any day, but it's just gonna be like bot farms and whatever. So we're trying to get to like higher quality users. And so Nanar helps for that. And on a cost per click basis, like if you take just the users that Farcaster marks as like, unlikely to be spammy, for example. So let's say, just for ease of math, that's like 3,000 on a given day. I don't think it's been that low in quite a while. And then you take like a $300 bid, which is low, but like today's bid with an hour left is, 222. So we're seeing $300 bids these days. You're talking about like a 10 cent per, cost per click on like a unique user there, which is, favorable versus most ad platforms. I mean, Facebook and Facebook and Twitter, I think, are like 27 cents for like the average campaign. TikTok's like over $1. Instagram, I think, is around 10 cents. So we're like right in the mix there. And again, like, if we were a little less quality rigorous on it and counted, just sheer impressions or whatever, like I'm sure when winners are looking at their dashboard, they're seeing like a heck of a lot more than a few thousand. But we're only sort of counting like the quality above a certain cut.
So are you seeing this as like a new type of ad unit that you think others will roll in, or is there sort of like is this a platform in and of itself? And
Yeah.
where's the future vision of this go?
Yeah, so I kind of just want to be like a one of one thing. I don't really want to like say like we're revolutionizing advertising or something like that. I just want to say like, this is a unique opportunity to get eyeballs on your project, and it's like going to be very different because the supply is one. Like, we're not trying to make a million QR codes. And so the idea is like, if we can go from driving a few thousand to a few 100,000 eyeballs per day, like actually quality users, it doesn't take like too long. I mean, people are paying like $8 million for a Super Bowl ad, right? And so we don't want to like create the next Facebook ads. We just want to create a one of one Super Bowl ad every day, something like that. And obviously, as you go on building, like, things change and things develop in different directions that are sort of unexpected. So I'm always hesitant to like give like a multi-year plan or something like that. But as of now, sort of the foreseeable, bull case would be like we're able to create one of the most, if not like sort of the most, in the ultimate like sort of bull case, like the most ambitious case, like the most valuable ad spot in the world every day. We're not trying to revolutionize advertise. We're not trying to disrupt like Google or something. But in doing what we're doing, like sort of this one of one thing, it does present a different model that like someone else could take and run with if they wanted to, where we are, instead of an advertiser coming in and paying Facebook to give them the attention of their users, we're paying users directly. So you come to the platform, you decide like, hey, and the pitch for the users really is like, someone like me, I don't care about like earning 20 cents per day. Like there are people who do care about that, but like I personally don't. I want to discover something new and interesting in crypto. And so like we had, for example, like Noise came on and they like ran the auction for like 5 straight days. They pointed the QR to their Twitter and then their Warpcast or their Farcast or whatever, then their website, and then like a tweet about their launch or whatever. And they started doing that 2 days before they launched. And then, if you'd been paying attention, you followed them on Twitter when they won for that, you would have gotten a notification when they launched. Oh, nice bid, guys. Thank you. Appreciate that. Seed Club, I see. I'm
Snuck one
assuming
in
it was
there,
you
baby.
guys. Yeah, Seed Club from the Twitter just bid 469. The meme numbers, I'll tell you what, like one of the biggest learnings from this whole thing is people love 69. It's actually like ridiculous. Like I'm aware it's a funny number, like 420 is good too, and we've seen some of that. But like, I mean, it's insane. Like I don't know. I guess it's good. I don't want to call it good or bad, but it's good for our auctions because people will be like, you could bid like, $1 plus to outbid the one below you, but instead people just go to the nearest 69 because it's what they want. So it's crazy. But
I honestly was like 420, 69, 469. That's the move right there.
that's nice. And that's honestly, that's the only reason we include cents, is because people like to do things with the numbers. Otherwise, like we would probably just round to the nearest dollar. But we want to, if you want to bid 420.69, we don't want to take that opportunity away from you. So yeah, it's been good. I forget, where I left off before your guys' bid caught my attention, but that's the whole name of the game, is the attention's moving all over the place. So
we were just testing you, making sure you're locked into your product. And,
oh yeah. Well, I've got, I don't know if you guys noticed, this is like, if people following along, it might be kind of hard, but if I have like the QR tab right next to the deck screener tab with the coin, I wish I wasn't as locked in on the coin as I am, but try launching a coin, it's pretty hard not to pay attention.
Not to be.
Yeah, so I have it next to it. And if you see, like, our tab is actually inspired. We basically copied the deck screener thing, so you can see the bid like without being on the tab. So all day I'm in like whatever tabs, but I can see the current bid at all times. I see the market cap at all times. So it's a nice little touch. And I like, for context, like I just really like super simple products and sort of ideas. It allows me to pay attention to to get the details right. I get like very overwhelmed by something that's just like a whole, complex thing or whatever. So this sort of fits my preference as well as a builder. And I didn't even, I didn't have some master plan of like going and launching this. I actually launched the coin about a month before we launched the website with no plans to work on it. And I just sort of had this idea. I was like, meme coins die because the attention is fleeting. And so you actually need to have the attention on something different. That's sort of like, I think, what could make a meme coin like, survive in perpetuity. And I was like, well, QRs like redirect really well. Maybe we could use a QR and have like sort of a nouns like auction. But I didn't say any of that. I just, tagged Clanker. I've launched like probably a dozen Clankers at this point. Most of them I don't do anything. This one, after like 3 weeks, someone brought something up. I was like, well, I did launch that Clanker a few weeks ago for this idea. Like maybe I should just build the auction. And then we did it. And it was kind of the first day we got a $3,000 bid. So I was like, all right, maybe I should work on this a little bit.
I mean, how are you thinking about, I guess, making sure this has staying power? I think so often with stuff like this, you get a bunch of early attention, but kind of falls off as the novelty around the mechanism wears off. So like, what do you need to go get right to make sure this still exists and people are bidding in a year?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what you said. Like, I think it's, it's hard to have a successful launch, but it's actually much harder to have sort of like a second period of attention that, goes beyond the launch. And I think we've had roughly like 3 periods of momentum so far. So like I said, like, after we had 3,000 bid on the first day and then, tapered off a little bit from then, and we got down to like $40 or whatever. And so we've had sort of like these, if you look at the auction history, it's these ebbs and flows of bidding. But I think basically, it's not like, I mean, I am like sort of in awe of nouns. Like 4 years in, they're, getting like half ETH bids these days, maybe even a full ETH bids, like $1,000 every single day. It's pretty wild. I think there's like some sort of battle going on there for like control of the treasury or something like that. I don't really know the details, but it's just very impressive. Like daily auctions are really hard, and I've got to know that, firsthand. Having said that, we're not trying to like sort of keep your attention on a meme or like keep your attention on an NFT that like is sort of arbitrarily valued by the market or something like that. Like we are driving eyeballs every day. And like, if this thing's available for $50, we have like, a number of sort of like, I don't know what you want to, like super fans or whatever, who are sort of like bidding often, like not very often winning, but they're like there so that if it slips through, like they'll be there for the bid to whatever they want. And so there's sort of like a floor there. I mean, this guy actually, if you look at today's bids, like the fourth one from the top, it's a 181 bid. We have this guy who has a bot that bids every day. Like the amount that he bids is equal to the amount or equal to the number of the auction. So it's, he bid 180, someone added to it $1. So that's why it's 181. But he's been doing that every day, like I would say probably for a few months, and he hasn't won yet. So like that, at least that floor has sort of been maintained. And there's some value to the amount of attention we're driving every day. And so the best thing we can do for the persistence of the auction and the bidding and everything is just to drive more attention. And that's really what I'm focused on. Like ultimately, the amount of attention we're driving our daily winner should drive the bids. And it's still going to be very volatile around that. Like let's say the amount of attention we're driving on a given day is worth like some, like it's the whole point of an auction is things are worth different things to different people. And so you let the market decide. But let's just say it has like some sort of intrinsic value of $750 right now. Some days we're going to get a 250 bid. Some days we're going to get a 3,000 bid. That's just sort of like the way that auctions work. Like if 2 people are launching something on the same day and they want the QR, then it might go up to a few thousand or whatever. But in the long run, if we can sort of drive that intrinsic value up through the amount of attention we're driving every day, I think we'll see like sort of the bidding maintain. And then I think the market cap is sort of the third thing thereafter.
Awesome, Jake. We got to leave it there, my man. We are in the arena with you.
Awesome.
A little bit in there. See if somebody has the boldness to go unseat us from the top place. And send us some attention, baby.
Who will unseat the Seed Club? Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. It's fun being on, and good talking with you guys.
Thanks, Jake.
Peace, man.